Welcome back, dear friends. I've just had some luck with this wretched mechanical steampunk arcade machine. Everything that I make for it, every mechanism doesn't work. And because there are so many mechanisms, I've never designed anything like this before. So many interlinked mechanisms. It is mind-bogglingly complicated and numbing. But I don't give up. I have considered actually just putting it on a shelf and forgetting about it, but I haven't. Let me show you what I've been doing. I've been sorting out a couple of things. In the last video, you will know if you've watched it, that there's a thing that stops the balls, holds the balls at the end of these tubes until this falls down. I'm redesigning that because I just wasn't happy with it. That's what the noise is in the background. It's sitting in its little corner, 3D printing away, the lovely Ender 3 Pro. Fantastic. Completely uncared for really, but it just keeps going. It's amazing. There's the original one, and I discovered, this is the whole thing working with this project. I'm working to tolerances of less than 0.1 millimeters, which is ridiculous. These holes that the ball's meant to go through were just too small, and the two tubes, half pipes, were just too close, so you'd line them precisely up with one hole, it would work, and the other not. So I've basically redesigned it to have the holes bigger. But what I've been doing at the moment, when the ball reaches the bottom, if it goes into this one, it means you've got another round, so you can lift this up again and have another round. If it goes into this front one, it means that you've lost, the ball's out of play. Obviously I have no idea how to get the ball in either of these, but that's for the gameplay. It rolls down this one and then switches and then drops the coin out, so you can't lift it again. That's right. It's so complicated I'm forgetting what I'm doing. But obviously I realised that once the ball goes out of play and falls into this one, you don't want to wait while this continues to slowly fall down, because that's boring and it's pointless. So I needed a quick release mechanism. So these two now are hinged. I've just put masking tape over the end so the balls don't, they can stay put. Look, and they're quite heavy comparatively speaking. And look what we've got now. We've got a pin and a piece of string. You can't beat a pin and a piece of string. And they go up to this lovely new lever, which is transparent obviously. It's difficult to see. Move that along a bit. I've got an adjustable stop. There's the little thing that lifts up the pin that links the pendulum to the escapement. And then look, because as I said in the last video, everything has got to be so adjustable, every element of everything. So I've got two lead weights I can slide backwards and forwards, and I've got them balanced just right, focus, so that the weight of the ball as it rolls down is just enough to lift it. It's almost in balance without the ball, if that makes any sense. So I will show you. If I lift this, I'll just work. Right, so that's now dropping at the normal slow speed, so give you time to manipulate the ball to keep it in play with whatever it is that's going to be here. And then if the ball goes out of play or it needs to be lifted again, look at that. Oh, the joy. I'm absolutely thrilled. There's a pattern here. I spent a week banging my head against the wall thinking this is just unachievable, it is impossible, getting more and more frustrated, and then finally solving it and being absolutely thrilled. I saw this sort of yin and yang or something or other, but it's doing my head in. That's another step done. I'm really hoping the 3D printed bit works, but it's right down to things like, here's the 20mm conduit that I'm using, and I didn't calculate the inside because I thought, well, that'll be big enough. And there's a steel ball that is just under 16mm diameter. That shouldn't be a problem, you think. But the walls of this conduit are so thick, they're like 2mm. only just fits. And even if you cut this in half, that is too close and the ball won't run down it. This was one that the other half of this front one. But luckily, I'd managed to cut it very badly, not in the centre, so one was thicker or whatever than the other one. And that one works, shallower. So I've now cut another one that's shallower. It's quite a lot shallower as well. Isn't that amazing? You can see where I've tried sanding the sides and deburring the sides and it, but it just would not roll down. Like I say, the tolerances are so close. It is ridiculous. Oh, and I'm also very pleased that I left this gap at the end so I could get to the screws, because look what has to make its way down this end. And that has to go right the way down because it has to go right the way up. Lovely. Actually, I've just remembered what the next mechanism is. It's something to release the scoring system when you put a new coin in. So I sort of logically went through the process step by step of playing this arcade game. When is it right to reset the score? And as with all arcade games, it's not when the game finishes because you want to show other people what you got or whatever. It's when you put the coin in to start the next game. So my thinking so far is either to have some very sensitive little lever thing that is pushed as the coin goes in, and then that resets it, or else, I know that's not going to be possible because I'm using such small coins. It needs to work with sort of 5p pieces, which are really small and thin. Just pushing them past, it's not going to have any effect at all. And then I was thinking, well, you could have something to hold a coin, and you have human force being put into it. How exciting! So you'd sort of like an offset thing or a little gate across. You put the coin in a little tray, and then you pull a start control. That then drops that in there, and the action of pulling it also, and I can show you because I've been playing, it releases this. There. It releases this lever. And then look. And then that will be 0. It's the next day and it's finished printing. So apologies for all this red on my fingers. I keep thinking I've cut myself. But I'm filming this the day after I finally edited that and coloured the big question mark in. No, it wasn't computer generated. We do things the old-fashioned way here. So, yes, just ignore all the red. I had to take a felt tip apart. Anyway, the improvements are as follows. This one, the original, ended up with about a millimetre gap all the way around, which made it wobbly. So I've cut that down to 0.5 millimetre with this one. Amazing thing, 3D Builder. I know I've said it. If I had 10p for every time I'd said that, I'd have 20p. Because you just, you know, built the middle bit, built the outside bit, put them together, and then just lined up, made the two circular bits pass through, and then subtracted them. It's brilliant, I tell you. So, enough of the chat. Let's get this. I'm prevaricating again because I suspect it's not going to work. But, given my success yesterday, I'm going to put that into there. I've got that screwed down, all fixed in, pin through there. Push that, look at the counterbalance, it's lovely. Right, so that's slowly ticking down. I will put a ball Yes, that's what we want. Let's try the other one. Lift that up, take the ball out. Oops. And then we'll roll it down here. Yes, how thrilled to bits I am with that. That I've got that whole, it's sort of like a cycle, I suppose, all working. That's a huge step forward. I'm absolutely thrilled. I never thought I'd see this day. Obviously it doesn't stop there. I need to redesign that thing so that the coins can fall down. And the next thing is to work out how to reset, that's right, how to reset the score as a coin is put in. I have a plan. Here's the first part of my cunning plan. I've replaced the original coin slot insert because I realised that rather than trying to cut an angled slot in this wood, it would be so much easier to use a 37mm drill bit and just push one in. So I've replaced that with that. I want to cut an extra bit there and there. The reason being, this will fit through there, or won't, like so. It'll poke through, because then I'll have some system like this where there's a start knob. So you put the coin in and it's held in place and can't roll into the machine until you pull this. That's human potential energy being stored in a spring. So you pull that back, the coin rolls in, and also linkage drops down and can be seated lower and is held in place by the spring and that little block being moved out of the way. That at the top then pulls the pulls out, releases and resets the timing. And the great thing about this is, because obviously you don't want to quickly pull this and let go and it goes back in immediately, because it might not have time to unwind and reset to zero, especially if you're not an honest player. So this stays dropped down until you've lifted the ball carrier up to the top. It lifts it back up, the balls drop, the start knob snaps back in. Bob's your uncle. Oh, I came up with that idea whilst walking the dog, and I'm so pleased. Because as with every mechanism in this machine, it'd be so simple to do with a line of code and electrotrickery, but everything needs to have several purposes. It's just like this. Okay, yeah, it's going to reset it, but then it's going to stop resetting it, and then the pulls will slam back down into a spinning ratchet and it'll sort of damage them. It needs to have that time delay, and I was so pleased to realise that lifting the whole thing up would solve it. So stop talking, let's get on and make stuff. 3D Builder, what a joy. So there's the bit that I've shown you, I cut out. I've then put a big rectangle over this and subtracted it to leave me with the shape of that slot that I previously designed, with the angle on it, and then I've just shown projected it out to where it would be, with a 4mm gap between the sliding thing that's going to stop the coins, and it comes out. And 29mm deep is the thickness of the £2 coin, the biggest one. So now what I do is I click on that, and then I click on edit and subtract, and then it's quite a complicated one, this one, so it's coming up with a little timer down here. There we are. And then look, isn't that amazing? So now I know that will allow a coin to roll all the way down. I know the offset between that and that, so I know how much higher I need to make this to the original, because this is the established bit, so everything's got to work from there. It's fabulous. Now I'm going to add some twiddly bits to this, because you'll see it, so it's going to be a bit decorative. I've got to just show you this. It's a torus. I'm amazed that you can create practically, well, anything I've ever wanted to. Cube, cylinder, pyramid, cone, sphere, hexagon, wedge and torus and tetrahedron. They're the only shapes that you need to be able to create anything. I want a little decor, a little decal, little thing taken out of this. So I've created, inserted a torus, like a donut, and stretched and squashed it just so it sort of looks about right. And then I'm just gonna possibly there, and then I just click on edit, subtract. Look, isn't that just amazing? The perfect union of laser cut acrylic and 3D printed PLA. I think it was Ibrahim who first suggested with this project that it would be a good idea to combine the two. So I have, look, dear friends, isn't that beautiful? It's the wrong way up, but never mind. Would you Adam and Eve it? I've got it done. Look. Ooh. And it only has to pull that far, because it just needs to slide the slot across so that the coins will go down. I haven't tried it yet. But that's what I'm talking about. And every time you pull it over, this bit on the inside does that. Let's start off with a £2 coin. So that's nice. It holds it. And then, yes. And the moral of this morning's first endeavour is don't dip your knob in paint. What an idiot. I wanted to have the little starting knob white, like it, you know, and I looked it up, and you cannot get small white ceramic knobs for love nor money. So I thought, I know, I'll paint it white. I know, I've got a pot of white paint. I know, I'll dip the whole thing in and lift it out and let it sort of drip dry. No. I'm now covered in paint, and I've just had to re-dip it and use a brush to try and spread it out, because it was all inevitably, you know, there's always a blob in the paint in exactly the wrong place. So let's hope that's going to dry fairly smooth at least. It does look a little bit like ceramic. The other plan for this morning is to work out the dimensions of this linkage that's going to rest on that little bit that sticks out. Ooh, look! It's a linkage thing with a pointy bit at that end, 5 stuck onto 2mm acrylic, and then all up here, 2 more slots, and a tapped hole there, and a tapped hole here. That's handy, Harry, being able to take the back off, because I can get to everything so easily. I can work out where to position this lever, also drill the hole that that little coin lifting thing slots into, get all sorts of little jobs, bit of housekeeping done. The slots weren't long enough, it wouldn't drop down enough, which is what I mean by tinkering. So I've drilled a hole and extended them all just a little bit, about 3 or 4 mil, and I'm going to install it, check it works. If it does, I will redraw those bits straight away onto the CAD file. Right, we have the linkage with the bit sticking out the top. Oh, and the bit sticking out there that's going to be lifted by the ball lifter. Going in now, and there's the ball lifter. Let's give it a go and see what happens. There's a coin. Here we are. 1p. See what happens. Because now, if I try and lift it, it won't lift. Put a coin in, it still won't lift. Pull the button, it lifts, because the weight of the coin has pulled back that lever, so you can lift it to the top. And then I've got to design this. The next job is going to just be to design the 4th version of the ball lifter with some little thing sticking out to lift that when it gets to the top, because then that will then lift that pops back out, by which time the reset pool has been released, or whatever it's been round for the scoring. So the improvements to make on this are to have 4 screw holes underneath so that the lead can be screwed on. On this side, to have 2 screw holes with another adjustable piece that will link to push that linkage upwards. But I'm going to make the adjustment on this, so you can adjust it with 2 adjustment screws. Well, will you look at that? Dog taken for a walk, and it was still printing, and it's finished. It's still cooling down a bit. It's not that long ago. I started that going at 5 o'clock yesterday evening. Said it would take 13 hours. It's always underestimated. So this is very exciting, because look, we now have threaded screws. We have another threaded screw hole here with a little adjuster. Ooh, let's get this together. They are such amazing things, 3D printers. This is the little catch that needs to release that new linkage I've got, and I want it to be adjustable. So a 3D printed M3 hole there, and a little ridge to keep it vertical, because otherwise I'd need 2 screws. And look, it fits beautifully. And I will cry, how do you create a countersunk slot with no special tools? Well, you create, using 2 cones and a wedge shape, you create something you can then subtract from the piece of work. It doesn't take any time at all to do that. It's lovely. How to mark and make lots of holes in lots of pieces of lead. Well, I started off by sticking some masking tape on. I was going to mark it all out and then drill them or something. And I thought, oh, I wonder if one of these horrible punches, I say horrible because they're steel cutting bits just that push against a brass lump. I used to use them at school in textiles lots, and they're absolutely useless because they all go blunt quickly, but turns out they're very good for making holes in lead. But how to mark it out? I will cry again. Must stop crying. Make a little template with the holes the size of that. So I can just lay it on top of a piece of lead and punch the 4 holes, theoretically. I'll get back to you shortly. It was all going so well. What an idiot. Here's the lovely new one with the lead installed underneath. And here's the old one that I'm replacing with the 2 bearings on it. And there's nowhere for the bearings. And that hole is moved down from there. Would you Adam and Eve it? Oh, that's so annoying. Back to the drawing board and another 15 hours of printing. Oh, so close, yet so far. Well, in which case I might as well get on with the scoring system. Now, I don't want to engrave it out of one big piece of engraving laminate because it would just waste it and cost a fortune. So, because all the numbers are small, I can use up all the little leftovers that I've got and just mount them on a piece of painted acrylic. And as I will put the name on the screen because I can't remember, but some kind viewer suggested that the numbers should be bigger because when you play games, they've always done a lot of research into it very kindly, and so you're not going to go up in 1s and 2s, you're going to go up in 10s, 100s, thousands, whatever. So I have taken the step to directly link this. I'm not going to gear it down now because this goes around twice per drop per level. So you've got the chance of winning up to 200 per level. And then there'll be a dial here, this one in fact, to show you the totals, how many hundreds you've got. It's a start. It would be possible, because that's going to sit around there, which will look lovely. It would be possible to gear it down further and have thousands or something. I don't know. Anyway, I didn't want to make these too big, because if these are all going to be hundreds, it's going to get bigger and bigger. But I think that looks nice, and I've just spent ages trying to get my brain around gear ratios. So that directly drives that, because it just looks nice with the main units thing in the centre. And then there's a 10 tooth there, turning a 60 tooth, turning a 30 tooth, turning a 60 tooth, simply because that means it reaches to roughly where I want. That'll work that. So I'm going to cut out these two from cardboard and spend the next few hours unsuccessfully fiddling with card gears. I thank you very much. The battery's about to go flat. I'll go and put it on charge. This is what I mean by tolerances. Look, these two gears, they mesh too tightly and they cause too much friction. So I'll move them, replace them with these two gears that are identical, other than the fact that they're 0.1 millimeters smaller. And there, where are we? I'm enjoying it so much I've forgotten to film it for you. Look at that. No binding or anything. Fantastic. Oh, and one other thing while I'm at it. This little thing snapped, that bit that was going to pull that something or other up. So I've just printed it here with 100% fill, which between you, me and the gatepost means it's a solid piece of plastic PLA. So that's really nice and strong. Lovely. Several people have asked me about how I design gears and things. Actually, I can't. This 2D design, bless it, it's such ancient software. But it's affordable, and I learned how to use it when I was a teacher, and it does everything I want it to, even if it's in a roundabout way. So I use a website to create these gears. In fact, it's this website, Involute Spur Gear Builder, and you can set how many teeth and things you want, and then it'll create it for you, and you can download it. So I've got a collection of those that I've kept in a convenient folder. This is a 60 tooth one. So I've imported it as a DXF file, and now I'm going to fiddle a bit and design the legs or whatever, the prongs, to reduce mass. So I'm going to start by drawing a circle to give the centre enough support. Yes, calculations, here we go. There's a little tool here, can you see that, sort of, that allows it to click to centres and things like that. So I want the edge to be strong enough, so I'm going to make that. Yes, structural engineering, here we come. Then I'm going to draw a rectangle anywhere, roughly. I don't want it to be too thin, and then I'm going to click on that tool. Oh, no, I'm not. I'm going to centre it. Then I'm going to delete the tops and bottoms. Then I'm going to use this lovely tool, which is, what is it called? It's a tangential radius, tangential to 2 lines arc, something or other. And I'm going to guess, and I'm going to say I want that 8 because it's quite a big gear. Then, look. I think this will look nice. I love this tool, I use it so much. Then I can delete all these bits. And then I can group these new bits that I've just drawn and that bit. Control G. And now I have to just decide how many of these I want. And then I'm going to click in the middle. Do you see? I think that'll look nice, because then, look, we can delete these other bits. And that's lovely. I don't know what these little bits here are for. What I've just been working on, though, is the scoring thing. You see that? I've been working out how I'm going to support these 2 gears and also the dial as well. So I've come up with this strange looking alien type thing. Again, using a series of curved circles. I knew where I wanted these 2 holes, that hole and that hole. I just wanted to fill in the rest, so I've created this strange. So I'm going to cut that out, cut that gear out, and I'll get back to you shortly. It's sometime later, and it's all coming together beautifully. I've even made a piece of 7mm thick acrylic by sticking 522. But it is taking too long. I just keep adding one more bit, especially after I'd failed to, printed this wrong yesterday or whenever it was. So I think that's going to be enough for this video. It's very difficult. I obviously will continue videoing everything, but it's getting on for a few days since the last one, and I can work on the editing this very evening, hopefully. Thanks very much for watching, and thanks to all the people who continue to provide me with ideas, suggestions and support. It is greatly appreciated. So, lots and lots happening, but it's all moving in a positive direction. So hopefully before too long, I'll actually start working on the gameplay itself. And before that, what I cannot wait to do, I'm really looking forward to, is to get all this painted. Like I say, I've got to stain the wood, paint all these and decorate it all and paint it. Oh, I just can't wait. And that's before the gameplay has even started. Thanks again. Please remember to click subscribe and like and all that sort of stuff. Hope to see you next time.